Hey everyone, Dan here with V.G.H.C. I'm sitting here with the creator and founder of Video Gaming Hardcore, Victor.
What's up?
And some of you may know, 25th anniversary of Mega Man is coming up, and I figured, what better person to talk to than pretty much the person who runs Mega Man videos all the time on our Twitch.
Well, I mean, let's give credit where it's due here. We do have two other voices in Mega Madness, and they're credited accordingly at the end of my video that I have coming out for the 25th anniversary, which I have a few episodes with you, running episodes for Mega Man 3, which are absolutely hilarious. And then I also have, with Mega Man X, I did a collaboration with Jeremy as well.
That is true. So let's get right on into this. 25 years of Mega Man. What does it mean to you that it's lasted as long as it has for the franchise, and it's pretty much one of the most iconic figures in gaming?
25 years. Well, one, it's confirmation that we're getting old. Not that I'm going to say I've been around for all 25 years, because that would be ridiculous, and mean I started playing Mega Man when I was 1, and that would be absolutely ridiculous.
Okay.
But, yeah, it's pretty old. I've been around for a lot of these years, and have been playing for quite some time. And I still play them to this day. Like, I'll still go ahead and pick up one of my old NES cartridges if I feel like doing that, and, jiggling around the cartridge to make it work. Or,
good old days, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I do have them all, so, pop one in, or if I don't feel like going through that hassle, just go ahead and do the technically illegal thing, but I own them all, so I don't really care. Go ahead and download them, play them on ROM.
Speaking of jiggling around the cartridge, what is, or what was your earliest memory of Mega Man? Like, what was the first game you played?
Now, the thing with that is, it was so long ago, and I didn't really own any of the Mega Mans until 4. And in the Mega Madness where I cover Mega Man 4 for the NES, I started it the only way I knew how. I literally took footage that my mother still had of me getting it on my birthday. I started the video with that. But that's not technically my first game I've played, it's just one that I know I reacted to. It's on video.
Yeah, so that was pretty much like the first, your first, whatever comes to your mind of Mega Man. The first memory you can think of.
Pretty much. Like, before that, it was either 2 or 3, I forget which, that my friend had a lot more games. I had 2 games and he'd have 50. So, I came across...
50.
Maybe slightly exaggerated, but I mean, he had a lot more than I did. He had a decent collection where I otherwise had, Mario, Zelda, etc. So, I went over there, and I would come across these games, and it was either 2 or 3 that I played that started me off with them, and it's like, wow, there's a lot of these. I gotta start playing them.
Interesting. Alright. So, do you remember what Mega Man game, really got you hooked, really... got you to be like, hey, okay, I'm gonna continue to buy these as they come out?
Pretty easy question. Mega Man 3, hands down. A lot of people go with 2. And the thing about that, I'm gonna get into a few things here, actually. We've been running Mega Madness for 3 through a few parts, because 1, it's my favorite and I didn't mind. But, I mean, not to rag on you or anything, but if we keep going the way we're going, they're probably never gonna end. So, I put out a video recently, which was the last of the clips that we did, or the last segment of the footage we recorded for Mega Man 3. And that'll probably be the last thing for a while, until I eventually revisit Mega Man 3 and actually give it a proper review or rant. Or, maybe one of these days I'll do a 2 versus 3 video, because, like I said, a lot of fans go with 2, and I personally like 3. I'm not the only one, but the fan favorite is indeed 2. And there are reasons I like 3 over 2, and I'll probably go more in depth in another video in regards to that.
Well, it's always good to be different from everyone else. I mean, it's all about personal preference in the end.
It actually makes me more different than I thought, because I believe it might have been on the Mega Man Network. I remember reading somewhere that it was actually the creator's, it was his least favorite, actually. That he felt that it was kind of rushed and it could have been better if it wasn't. But I guess that just makes me different, so I mean, I'm okay with that.
It's always good to be different. All right, moving on. What was the easiest Mega Man game? Like that game where you could just shoot right on through and be done in like less than an hour.
Just put it out there, I reference a lot of the classic series because, I mean, it's hard to decide between classic and X, but most of the time I end up going to classic. Mm-hmm. But mostly because you don't have to go back to the levels and get like certain upgrades. Right. In 5, you have to collect like the letters or whatever. But anyway, point being is that I definitely have to say 5 or 6 because I believe I'm pretty sure it was 5. A while back, it was a trying time in my life. I just went ahead and took the NES to a separate room and decided, hey, let me start playing all the Mega Mans again, all the classic ones, 1 through 6 on the NES. And as I ran through them, I got to 5, and I noticed I played through the game without using any continues whatsoever, and also no energy cans.
Wow.
So, just based on that, I'd probably have to go with the fact that 5 is the easiest one.
Alright.
With 6 being pretty close.
Alright, well, let's move on the opposite side. What was the hardest Mega Man you played?
Oh, anyone that's familiar with the Mega Man Zero series, take your pick. Because they are all brutally difficult. But if I had to choose one in particular, even that would still be hard. But retro confession, if I didn't play 3 or 4, so you can take your pick between the two of them. But 3 or 4, I actually played them on an emulator. Because if I did not, without, the old-fashioned state saving and state loading, I don't know how I ever would have beaten those games.
Interesting.
They're that brutal.
Really?
If you guys think, don't get me wrong, a newcomer going into Classic or X could find themselves having a bad time. But if you think those are bad, just pick up the Zero series for like one level, and you'll see the huge difference.
Alright. Now next we're going to talk about, because there have been many different bosses in Mega Man throughout the years. I was wondering which boss was the most memorable that really stood out to you.
Well, that's kind of a... I'm going to answer this in 2 parts, actually. Because this may or may not be your intention with the question. But my favorite Robot Master is definitely Magnet Man. And what really just kind of made me not only realize that he was my favorite, but also gave me lyrics to go with. Band the Megas. They have a song out, Don't Mess with Magnet Man. And I have a background with Magnet Man and his stage and like my name and whatnot. It's pretty cool. But I've always liked him. He drags you in. He's got the magnets, which actually kind of home in on you. I always liked his design. It's just something that stood out for me. And then as far as like favorite boss in the game, like to fight against, coming at it from that angle instead, I'd have to go with Sigma in Mega Man X4, because every time we fight the guy, and by we I mean me or Jeremy, future Mega Madness in the future, but I just said future twice, but
it's all good, man.
But anywho, every time we go to that boss, it's just, we've played the game a lot of times, so we find ourselves quoting the things he says in between forms. Like it's good stuff. It's a pretty epic battle.
That's interesting. All right. Now, I guess more towards a serious part of the Mega Man franchise. There have been mistakes in the series. Well, what do you think their biggest mistakes were?
Well, I think to an extent, Capcom realizes that. Well, let's face it, there are a crap load of Mega Man games. So many spin-offs, so many different things they tried to do with the brand. It kind of seems like they got confused after a while and just really didn't know what they wanted to do. Like, So like I said, I mentioned Classic a lot, and I tend to be attached to it, but I can't really decide between Classic or X, but I also played the spin-off Classics, like all the ones for the Game Boy. They're mostly the same, but I played each of those, except for 5, and actually I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. Mega Man 5 for the original Game Boy, all the rest of them they combine 2 of the games and put the Robot Masters in it. 5 is completely different, and they make up completely different Robot Masters, which are different from the NES games. So if you haven't played one of them and you want to choose to just play one, I wouldn't suggest trying to look for it on eBay. It's pretty freaking expensive. But if you want to play it on like an emulator or something, you definitely should. But I think I got sidetracked. What was the original question?
Mistakes that Capcom has made with the Mega Man series.
All right. So yeah, just too many spin-offs. There's too much. I mean, I personally wasn't interested in Battle Network or having Zelda with my Mega Man, which was the Mega Man Legends series.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting that I never played those because I had a big RPG phase back in the PS1 era, where I would play a bunch of RPGs that existed on the PS1 and go back and play a lot of the ones on the Super Nintendo as well. But Mega Man Legends just didn't strike me as something I wanted to play. And it was the same thing with the PS2 when they came out with Mega Man X Command Mission.
Mm-hmm.
I really just didn't. I was like, Mega Man is an RPG. I don't know about this. Like, it just didn't. It didn't attract me. Then again, I said the same thing about Mario RPG, and it's actually really good. But
yeah, I've heard you talk about that in the past.
Yeah, but let's not stay too long on that. This is Mega Man after all. Mistakes. X6 was a mistake. Not to say that I, wouldn't want to play the game, but the way Capcom went about it, like X5, the ending of when you see X5 and you view the ending of X5,
mm-hmm.
laser through the chest, X and Zero are done. That is it. You do not come back from that.
No, unless you want to come back as a zombie.
But then you see at the end, X is somehow in the picture. And he has what looks like Zero Saber. And that's where the game ends.
Uh-huh.
But hold through chest, you really just think the series is going to end there. Like, there's no turning around from that.
Well, logically speaking, when they look like they're dead, they should be dead.
And the guy, credited as and I'm purposely not saying his name because I know I'm going to pronounce it wrong, but the person, deemed as like the father of Mega Man, he goes into the Zero series. X5 was supposed to lead into the Mega Man Zero series, and it would have made perfect sense. Instead, Capcom decides, basically against his will, to release X6, which a lot of people feel was kind of lacking. I can agree with that to an extent, but the other thing that came with X6 was a spike in difficulty from X4 and X5. It became really difficult really fast, and I really should have shut that off.
It's okay, man. Let's keep going.
But, yeah, it just became this spike in difficulty out of nowhere. It's just fighting Gate was the boss. This weird guy in gold with a cape or something, if I remember correctly. But yeah, he was stupid difficult, or at least for me back then. It's going to be interesting going back to that and see how many tries it takes me to beat the guy.
Alright, well, with that being said, with the current state that Mega Man is at right now, what do you think can be done to really improve the series, bring some life back into it?
Well, I'm pretty positive that steps have already been taken to do just that, and that makes me pretty happy. Because, basically, you can feel it. Like, with the announcement of Street Fighter Cross Mega Man, or Versus Mega Man, whatever you want to call it, you can tell, like, some of the people... There's definitely some people still complaining, and I'll get back to that. But you can see the people that are passionate about Mega Man, they're starting to care again. Like, they suddenly... Mega Man's not dead anymore. Like, he's there. Now, provided this is PC and it's free and everything, but, they're putting out Mega Man somewhere, as opposed to nowhere. Because, obviously, people got sore because there was a canceled project, or two canceled projects. There was Mega Man Legends 3 and Mega Man Universe. both of which I was equally excited for. Legends more so for the fans of that series because I hadn't really played it, and Universe because it was supposed to be just this giant mashup of things that were Mega Man, but they canned them both, and the series seemed to have a uncertain future to it. But I'm thinking with the announcement of this game, it's hopefully a sign of good things to come.
You brought up this game. How do you feel about the idea of having Mega Man fight against the different Street Fighter characters as bosses and levels?
I think it's really awesome, and I'm kind of going to repeat what they said on stream, but it really is the perfect way to end the Street Fighter 25th anniversary and open up with the Mega Man 25th, which fans like myself originally were thinking, it's like, wow, they're not going to do much of anything for this. But you know, the anniversary of the 25th anniversary for Mega Man is indeed December 17th. You know, this came out back in 1987. So when that day comes around, I told myself, before I even heard about this game, I told myself I was going to make this video that is going to come in the future on this channel. And it just kind of went from there. I think it's an awesome tribute to both games respectively, because you also see classic Mega Man, because it's done in classic style. It's done in the 8-bit. So that's the formula they went with to make this game. And it's awesome to both see the 8-bit, you know, versions of Street Fighters and them doing their own respective moves, but also you see things in the classic series that you haven't seen in previous Mega Mans. You'll see, like, different paths you can go, and, like, kind of sort of a maze, which mostly is referring to the Dalsim stage. And that much more love put into the levels because, you know, it's Street Fighter related. So you'll see, like for example, where you fight them in Street Fighter 2, you'll see that in the stages, which is awesome. And not to say that only Street Fighter 2 is represented, because, you know, there's 4 as well, so some alpha thrown in there.
Nice.
And then also the bosses have this other bar outside of their health bar. And the other bar is basically like, as you're doing damage to them, this other bar is filling up, and you're wondering what the hell it is. And then all of a sudden, the camera focuses on the person, and then you realize, oh shit, this is them doing an Ultra. This is ripped straight from Street Fighter 4. Like, this is awesome to see in a boss battle, because it's definitely something you've never seen before, and it just shows love for both respective franchises. It's great. It's brilliant. I can't wait to play it.
All right, awesome. Well, we were talking about that game. I wanted to get a little more into Mega Man's future. This is, of course, after this game. Do you see them, like, maybe doing more mashups? Do you see them maybe returning to the classic style? Or do you see them trying to continue or even create a new Mega Man?
Honestly, like, for me personally, and I said this, again, this was something said before I heard about what we just talked about. My thing, I don't even necessarily want another Mega Man. It would be nice. All I want is a proper tribute to the 25th anniversary, for Mega Man's 25th anniversary. What I'd like to see, realistically speaking, would be something along the lines of what they did for Street Fighter, where they have this awesome Ryu statue, you know, you got this freaking certificate, you know, that shows you, you know, such and such Street Fighter. I want to see something like that for Mega Man. I want to be a loser and, you know...
And, of course, go out and get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Go out and get it, freaking frame that shit. Oh, absolutely. I want to do that. That'd be awesome. And just this huge collection of, like, Mega Man games. You know, you can do it. Hell, do it on the PS3. You could probably fit, like, all the old games on it. I'm talking Classic X, Zero, like... Go nuts. Put it all on there. That'd be great. Some kind of collection. Something. Not just this music collection that I know exists, and this R20 booklet, which, I gotta be honest, that's pretty cool. They're coming out with it again for the 25th anniversary, you know, R20 plus 5. Real creative, I know. But, hopefully that comes here, because I want to get that, because the book is being upgraded with Mega Man 9 and 10 art. So, I'd like to have that.
And that they could also maybe throw in some action figures over the years from the different Mega Man characters who appeared in the game.
Those we actually have seen. We've seen I think they're on the Capcom website. They're these pretty bad. They're like $50 a piece, I think. But I'll tell you, if I had money to blow out of my ass, I'd be getting them because they're really detailed. There's a Vile figure from the X series, and also from the X series, there's a Zero figure, and they both look really badass. So there is that.
Nice.
The love is there. I just don't feel it's captured in the same way as Street Fighter was. And that's really my thing. Like, Street Fighter isn't the only thing that put them on the map. Mega Man's pretty big. You know, it's as important, if not more important. And I realize the more important part is me being biased, but I'm allowed to do that because I like Mega Man.
Do you really think it's more important just to the legacy of Capcom? Mega Man over Street Fighter?
The thing is, Street Fighter, I get it. With Street Fighter, you know, they can have tournaments and actually, like, go somewhere. With Mega Man, it's just kind of... A lot of people that like Mega Man are probably, like, older fans and are going to reach out to Capcom for, you know, this 25th anniversary for nostalgic purposes.
Right.
Unless they decided to make, like, a ZX2 or something, to which I can't really say I'd be that interested in that kind of thing.
It's also a weird title.
Yeah, well, I'm just pulling a title out of my ass, because the last game, I believe, was that for the DS, so I just put a 2 at the end of it. That's it.
Alright, and my last question, like, of course, what I said before with it being 25 years... Out of all your experiences with the game, what's the one thing you've been able to take away from it?
Here's the thing with Mega Man, because, and I briefly mentioned this in the video that's coming up, so I'm not going to say too much about it, but I've come to the conclusion that a lot of game series, they repeat themselves. And it's not a bad thing, provided you actually listen to the fans. I mean, let's take a look. You have Mario and Zelda, 2 very iconic figures in the gaming industry. They put out, let's be honest, I mean, especially with Mario, this is the same game over and over and over again. Okay? It is the same thing. You get a power-up or 2, but it is the same exact game. But, you know, people like that. People like that. As opposed to something like Call of Duty that gets worse and worse per game. And, again, opinions, but I'm not even going to get started on that one because that'll bring up a whole other conversation. But the point is that it's not a bad thing if done right. And when they came out with 9 and 10 to go back to the 8, not only go back to the classic series, but also go back to the 8-bit style. While Capcom wasn't as directly involved with those 2, they put it out and it was good stuff. They mostly copied 2. So it was kind of a letdown to not find sliding or charge shots in either of those games, which also did add to the difficulty, especially in the case of 9. That was pretty freaking difficult. And, but yeah, you actually find both those things in Street Fighter X Mega Man. So definitely looking forward to that. That's pretty much it.
Alright. So, what's that date again for the 25th anniversary for Mega Man?
That would be December 17th. I've been editing the hell out of a video that I'm trying to put out for that. Specifically for the 25th anniversary. And like I said, once again, this was before I heard about, you know, Street Fighter Cross Mega Man. So...
You were already prepared for this.
Yeah. I was going to do this regardless. Like, this was under the impression that Capcom just didn't give a shit, that they weren't going to do anything. And while I feel slightly better about that now, you know, regardless of what, if I had heard about this or not, I put out the video without much hate. I think I might mention my my Zover posts, or my crossover, because I guess that's what they were trying to go for. They probably did that there too. But yeah, I definitely didn't have nice things to say about it. I have 2 different versions of the post up. One on the website and one on my personal blog. Both of which are hateful and then even more hateful. I really didn't have nice things to say. It was a bad time. I really just, you know, like, people say what they will about, DLC on disc and all this other stuff, and it's like, it's bad and I don't agree with it, but my thing is with Mega Man, and that it was just a low blow with the canned projects and then them putting out a poor excuse for a game, which apparently was also, someone remade that same game in Flash, just saying. So, you guys know you messed up. I don't even have to say anything about that.
Alright, do you plan on doing a stream for Street Fighter and Mega Man?
I think that's pretty much a guarantee at this point. But I want to quickly go back to the repetitiveness thing, as long as we're on this topic.
Okay.
To you people out there, this is a complete side note. To you people out there who are just basically hating, I guess, for no reason on... And I'm sure you do have your reason, because there are people still complaining about the fact that they're putting out Street Fighter Cross Mega Man. Like, it's not good enough. It's free. I mean, how can you complain about free, first of all? And second of all, it's like, oh, it's only going to be on the PC. Well, I mean, most of us have PCs anyway, right? Besides, you can take out, like, a Windows 95 computer and it probably runs this game. I mean, it's old. There's no problem with what they're doing, and it's bringing a presence back to the Mega Man brand. I mean, because I look at... I'm a fan of Capcom as a whole as well, and it's kind of just... I look at these people complaining about Devil May Cry for such and such a reason, and, it's not what it's supposed to be, and it's not doing this, and it's not doing that. With Mega Man, it's going back to the old school roots, and people are still complaining. And I think people just, definitely people out there that just like to complain for the sake of complaining. And if you don't want this game, well, I'm sure it's not going to hurt Capcom's feelings. It's sure as hell not going to hurt my feelings, because I'm going to play it regardless.
Well, it is free after all.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what it all comes down to. It is free, and even if for some reason you decide to miss out on this game, I really see it as something that is going to help push the brand. I mean, they even made a Twitter account. That's official. An official Mega Man Twitter account. And I know that sounds really stupid, but for brand awareness, that thing's going to blow up. I'm pretty sure it has already, actually.
It's a pretty safe bet, I think.
It makes me excited for the future of Mega Man.
Alright, well, right there, I'd like to thank you for sitting down with me and talking some Mega Man, and looking forward to that stream on Monday.
Absolutely, not a problem. Anybody who has any interest in this and wants to go ahead and check this out on the 17th, I throw a lot out there. I kind of try to put as much as possible into what's about almost a 20-minute video. I toss in my opinions, I toss in music you should listen to, which is really the main thing there. I really throw a lot into that given period of time. Considering that, I throw in clips of a run while I talk about all this. But there's a lot to be had, there's a lot of plugs to be made, and there will be, I said this on my blog post and in the, I believe in the links or in the description or something. I left it somewhere. Point is that there's not going to be any self-plugging with this. This is truly for Mega Man and anybody that has to do with Mega Man. The only exception to that would be like, the only exception to that would be the person who does our theme, which, obviously I credit the person who does our theme, and I thank you for doing that. And, but yeah, it's completely dedicated to Mega Man. You're not going to find, visit V.G.H.C. here. You're obviously going to see it because that's where it's going to be, but that's pretty much it.
Alright, well, thank you guys for listening, and we look forward to the future of Mega Man.
Absolutely. The Blue Bomber's coming back. Or at least I can hope.
We shall see.
See you guys.
See ya.